Nobody can live long enough to learn solely from making one's own mistakes and expect to have learned very much before dying. It is wiser to try to learn from the successes and mistakes of others. It's less painful, and learning what works and what doesn't can happen much faster. This is particularly true in branding design. Let's talk about it. The identities of large companies have changed over time, almost always gravitating towards simpler, more elegant designs, and usually conforming to the core principles of branding design that I teach. Many companies have a long history of attempting to refine their identity. If we look at their progression from one identity to another and compare, we can see some consistent trends. These companies have worked hard to get their respective identities just right. Each change represents not only the combined efforts of dozens, if not hundreds of individuals, but also a massive expenditure of resources. Texaco's identity has been trendy at times, but simplicity and clarity win in the end. Multiple colors are put aside in favor of one color. Fine lines are omitted, and contrast is reinforced. Now they have a brand design that can last them forever. With Westinghouse, the process is even simpler, cleaner, and more direct. Wraparound type is always a problem for quick legibility and has been discarded. Westinghouse used to change its logo every 15 to 25 years. Then Paul Rand designed a new logo for Westinghouse. It has remained virtually unchanged since 1960. Why? Because identities that are designed according to the core principles don't become dated. They've used the Paul Rand logo for over 6 decades, and now could use it forever. Rather than becoming harder to recognize by being stylized, if done properly, images become clearer. Beginning with photo-like realism, these logos became increasingly stylized until Raymond Loewy made a perfect shell logo in 1971. The typography, however, was too trendy and was replaced with a less dated font. Then in 1999, the company omitted the signature portion and used their logo without a signature. Very few companies can ever do that, but that logo, over half a century old, still looks modern and fresh. Why? Because it was designed according to the core principles of logo design. Through more than 100 years of evolution, superfluous content is eliminated in the John Deere identity. Realism is exchanged for expert stylization. Elements are made simpler, and instead of becoming weaker, become more visually recognizable and powerful. The pre-Victorian style of Apple's first logo didn't even last 1 year. The elegant Apple logo was designed in 1976 by Rob Yanoff. After that, the rainbow colors were omitted, along with the trendy type. Such fonts always go out of date quickly. All the changes since then have been treatments. They have been supplemental to the basic flat color logo, but have never replaced it. Even on the Apple website or products today, it's the simple one-color logo that is used, not any of the previous treatments. The company we know as IBM has had many names as well as many logos over the years. Paul Rand designed the IBM monogram in 1956 and made the 13-stripe variation 12 years later, and then simplified it 5 years after that to just 8 stripes. It is still being used today. This identity conforms to the core principles of branding design. In addition to the striped logo, in 2018, IBM also started to use Paul Rand's original 1956 logo again, reversed out of a block. The most famous companies in the world not only pay to have a logo redesigned so that it prints better and is clearer to see, but they have to pay to have all their stationery, packaging, vehicles, and signage rebranded. The cost can be considerable. In these two samples, both companies have achieved logos that are clear and represent them well. These final logos conform to the core principles of logo design. They could now last those companies forever. The pathway to getting those logos was not a cheap one, but it doesn't have to be that way. What are the common design principles that these case studies show? First and foremost, clarity and instant recognition are paramount. These are absolute baseline requirements. Again and again, these designs prove one overriding principle: nothing can compensate for a lack of clarity. Those who think that clarity is somehow passé are smoking something that's messing with their heads. Without legibility, nothing else matters. If people cannot see and recognize the brand, the design is a failure, pure and simple. Next are the twin qualities that are also indispensable in corporate identity design: flexibility and continuity. Over and over again, we see that simplicity triumphs over complexity. One color wins over multiple colors, and timeless designs over trendy ones. All of this points us to the core principles of branding design. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this useful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it with anyone who needs to know about logo design.